Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Don't need these right now. So I wanted to hop on today. I know I said that I wasn't going to do a video until Sunday, which is already ready to go from the AMA. It's going to be about some divvy news and some things that we're going to be doing going forward. But lots of news broke yesterday. Well, significant news that I wanted to come on and just talk about it because I've been talking about it, like it feels like for months, but I was definitely talking about it just the other day. Again, third world countries. Third world countries are going to lead the adoption because it matters to them more. And we got the big news yesterday that Panama has become the third country to accept Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean it's legal tender. They passed legislation, and it's not necessarily legal tender, but they have approved that Bitcoin can be used. It doesn't have to be used. That's the difference. With legal tender, you have to accept it. Whereas if it's just approved, merchants can and people can spend it. Merchants get to decide, though. They decide if they're going to take Bitcoin in for payments or not. But what's going to happen is Panama is going to learn from El Salvador, probably already has already, and they're going to move forward with Bitcoin because it benefits their people. And these smaller nation states, these smaller countries, they're going to be doing this more because the big first world countries, they're all worried about legislation and regulation and rules and following this, whereas these smaller countries are going to do things that are more beneficial to their constituents, their people, their citizens, because they need it. Like the banking system is so corrupt in these countries. The poor people there can't, no pun intended, but they can't afford a bank account. And if they can't afford a bank account, then the country suffers because now you have, like, it's an entirely cash business, and government can't tax a lot of cash transactions. So it's to their benefit for their citizens. They also get the benefit of when there's remittances from, like, if someone here is Panamanian, is working in the United States and sends money back, Western Union takes a chunk, or Walmart takes a chunk, or however they do it. But if they're doing it with Bitcoin, they're just using like the Lightning Network to send it quickly to their relatives back in Panama. It's relatively painless and pretty cheap and almost instantaneous. So forget Western Union. Sorry, you're done. So that's three countries now. We have the Central Republic of Africa, or Central African Republic. I don't know how to, I don't know. I'm lucky I can even find it on a map. But in the middle of Africa, there's a country that says Central African Republic, I think is the name of the country. It's landlocked. I don't know anything about the country. I looked it up a little bit the other day, but hey, you can spend Bitcoin there. So good luck with that. But the other thing about Panama, and as much as I want to do the Van Halen memes, I love Van Halen. Just Eddie Van Halen, one of the best guitarists ever. Love Dave Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, and the third guy from Extreme, I don't even remember his name, but not so good. But I digress. Panama, the memes will be flying, I'm certain. Panama is going to be big because we've got, like, the other thing that it's secondary news, but it's much bigger, which is that there's going to be no capital gains tax on crypto transactions. So guess what that means? That's right. People are going to want to use cryptocurrency in Panama. And the other thing about Panama is that it's really a great expat country. A lot of people know Panama. They've been there. There's been a lot of economic development, like the Panama Canal. The U.S. has a pretty decent footprint and history of being involved in Panama. So if you want to look some modest reading, Theory of an Economic Hitman. He talks about how our government, with one of the many three-letter agencies, what they would do is they would work with these countries and with the petrodollar and say, hey, your country is going to explode because of this, and this. All you need is better infrastructure. So they would talk to them and say, you need to, like, borrow US dollars, a bunch of them, and build infrastructure, and then they become debt slaves to the people that build that infrastructure. So that's what the Theory of Economic Hitman is talking about, or Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He used to do that for years. It kind of wore on him. He retired from it. I think it's mostly a true story, if not entirely. But it's pretty amazing what they did to these countries, and pretty sad, actually. But they made them debt slaves to the US dollar, and now these countries are waking up and saying, hey, we've got a viable alternative now. And they're turning to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And they're using incentives for people to entice them to come to Panama. So look for more companies to take up residency or start to open offices or do deals through Panama, because they are not going to have to pay any taxes for it. Because if they do it with crypto, they won't have to pay any capital gains. So companies will lead the way first, and then citizens, maybe people will move to Panama. Have to see. I'm sure it's certainly a hot climate. It's not nearly as dangerous as El Salvador, but it's going to be attractive now thanks to the new policies there for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So the other story I want to touch on before I call it a weekend, again, is I happened to check the ruble this morning. The ruble is 1.4 cents to a ruble is 1.4 cents. Now, if you remember my earlier story, and I'll try to link it up here, but the ruble, I think it's 5,000 rubles equals a gram of gold, which, and 31 grams equals a troy ounce. So if you do the math, it's like 166,000 rubles. So if the ruble was a penny, then gold would be $1,660 if it was purchased in ruble. But now we have that 1.4. That 0.4 is significant because you multiply that by 166,000, and now ruble is about over $2,100. Like if you sell gold for ruble, you will get $2,100 US. So that's another arbitrage thing. So here, imagine this mechanism in a little Rube Goldberg of your own. You take an ounce of gold, you sell it for rubles, get $2,100 worth. You take the rubles and convert it to actual dollars on a foreign exchange website, some Forex exchange, and say you walk away with only $20.50 because there's a cost of transaction. That's fine. But you took a $1,900 ounce of gold and made it into $20 and over $2,000. That arbitrage where you made $100 out of virtually nothing, thereabouts, you can do that again. Rinse, repeat, and that arbitrage will continue to be manipulated throughout the Forex markets until that's gone. So that's the kind of dynamics going on. So the ruble is getting stronger, the dollar is getting stronger too, and I know there's Brent. I got to check up on the dollar milkshake theory. I still don't believe that too much, but I think the dollar's going to get too strong, and then it's going to have to go back down, and then when the dollar goes back down, Bitcoin will go up, and that'll be the dynamic. But there's lots of different things interplayed, and that's why this crypto channel has become an economic channel. So I just want to touch on a few things, let you know what's going on, especially the Panama story. So pay attention to that third world. They're going to lead the way towards adoption. So a lot said today. Once again, I'm going to close the drawer in the bureau. Wish everybody a happy weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday for a special video with myself and Patrick, Divvy Daddy. But until then, I'm going to say follow leader one last time, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.